Welcome back, guys. Mike here. Today we're back what we need to talk, but more importantly, I'm going to use this as an introduction to I am Courtney Michelle. I've been meaning to go back and do a reaction to her content. I keep having she does a lot of long form content, and finding like the right stuff to view is a bit of a challenge. But we have a one on one with her and the host of We Need to Talk, Alan. So this is as good a place as any. Let's go ahead and get started. And I think we're talking about I don't know. I haven't seen this since it first debuted. So we what do we it doesn't say oh, marriage is overrated. Well, that's not what we're going to initially talk about. I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about the wall. You guys know what the wall is, so I shouldn't have to explain that. Let's just go ahead and have the whole the high level conversations, right? Let's peel back some layers.
Is the wall true? Okay, so let's define the wall first. Okay, so
Thank
the
you.
wall meaning when you get to a particular age, your the sexual market value goes down. So the opportunities that you could have had with a particular man is not there anymore because of your age, because of your fertility. Yeah.
Baggage.
Yes. Yes. It's true. So I think there is a wall.
There 100% is a wall. But again, you made your YouTube talking points. That's why we're here today, right? The thing that doesn't get talked about is that the wall is going to be different from person to person. Because again, if, for women, it's a lot of times it's an age barrier, meaning that your looks start to break down. But again, you can turn back the clock on that. So the wall isn't always in the same place for everybody. The other thing there is that the wall is going to be different depending on the man that you're with. Average men like myself, I mean, like I said before, it's six, right? Let me get on camera here. Six, fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive, childless. Most guys will take probably about 4 out of 6. So this whole, the concept of the wall, that doesn't really apply to average men because again, we're not high value. Okay, so we don't bring everything to the table. So as such, we shouldn't be looking for women who are bringing everything. If you're an average guy and you out here talking about you want all 6 of them things, you're a piece of shit. Seriously, dude, get over yourself. I'm so sick of that, man. These fake high value dudes. And I'm like, bruh, you working at the job with me, man. Come on, be for real. All right, but let's keep going.
There's outliers, of course, but there is a wall. But when we have the conversations of the wall, it's as if walls can't be broken down. So the essence of the wall is, oh, you've hit it. And like you can't go through it. That I don't believe.
She's actually right. Like I said, all that means is now if you're looking for a high value man, yeah, you're not getting through that wall because he'll just go find another girl. But for more average men, the wall is it's not set in stone. Yeah, you can. There are other ways because again, we need each other. So there are going to be some compromises there. And depends on the guy what those compromises can be. For that guy, the proverbial wall may be where you have kids. So no, we're not. I'm done. That could be the case. I mean, before I got married, I didn't deal with women who had children. And yes, there were offers there, but no, I'm not looking for that. So it's immediate no for me. But another guy may be able to do that. Your value may not drop as fast with him. He may be okay with being a stepfather. Because like I said, I've always said this, having kids outside of wedlock is not a death sentence. Now, what it does mean is that you need to be like the other categories that you have left. You need to be excelling at them because a man taking care of another man's kids or child, that's a big ask. I mean, he's literally devoting his resources to something that it's not his legacy. Or as you know, a wise person once said, he's picking up somebody else's saved game. We don't like to do that for the most part. But it's not impossible though. It can be overcome. It's just that you need to recognize where you are currently and then what your strengths are and play to those. And find that guy who's looking for those strengths.
Now, the way that you go through the wall might be a little different than how you could jump over it at 20. You know, you got to chip out some stuff, but you can go through it. And I think that there's men that's willing to help you chip through that wall as well, too. So I don't think, and I hate
The all two or three of you ladies out here, here's a real question for you, and sound off in the comments if you what you think about this. Do men have a wall? And if so, what age would you say it's at? All right.
the whole buy a dog, die alone thing. I get those in my comments a lot. I don't think that's true. I don't think anyone has to die alone, regardless of the age, regardless if they have a child. It's just willing to understand that you might have done some things and you have baggage that you got to unpack, and you have to do that work for yourself. And there's gonna be someone, and maybe that's my being a hopeless romantic, which I can take, but
Okay, maybe I just went on that whole diatribe about that. Maybe this is where I picked that up from. You know, it's been, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen this, but I mean, the concept actually works. But again, you know, you got to be willing to take a chance and feel people out. So
I just always feel like there is someone that's willing to not put up with your shit, but willing to be with you. It might not be in the package that you want, but it's gonna be in the package.
100%. A lot of times, you know, this has come up before where the guy you need versus the guy you want, those two are not mutually exclusive. A lot of times, particularly like we're losing. How do you say this? We are wasting time trying to find the perfect mate. It doesn't exist. Okay, so what you need to do is find somebody who you agree with. You guys have the same basic principles and start building. Because again, why are we doing this? Well, legacy is important, but the more time you waste on trying to find Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect, that you can't get that time back. And then again, what is the state that we're leaving our kids in? Because that's why I said, you know, we need each other and we have to come together. The sooner the better, realistically. As long as, again, you're living in reality and you can plan for the future, the sooner the better.
Package that you need.
And that's my only pushback, right? Mm-hmm. So whenever the wall argument is used, whenever I've seen it used, it's never you're 35, you're not going to find anybody. Mm-hmm. It's you're 35, you're not going to find that guy, right? Mm-hmm. Because what happens, or what tends to happen in our community, going back to earlier when you said you can't tell women anything, is you can definitely not tell them to compromise their standards.
Right.
And they still feel deserving of what they would have qualified for at an earlier age with less baggage. Mm-hmm. So the wall really is just an accountability measure to say, either be willing to enthusiastically, like you said, chip away at those standards that you had, or you will have to die alone if you're unwilling to settle for the type of man that you actually qualify for.
High level conversation. You know I love it. That's basically boils down. That's another way of putting the things that I just said. He cleaned it up rather succinctly too. It was a lot shorter than the whole spiel that I just went on. But at the end of the day, that's what it's about. You got to be willing to compromise on things because again, the goal here is we're building a community here, and it's not going to be perfect. I think this is one of the reasons why the marriage rate in our community is so low, is because we keep looking for perfection and it doesn't exist. our grandparents, our great grandparents, they weren't looking for perfection. That's why it's we've got to. That's a big problem right now. It's like I'm not going to settle, but you expect the women tend to say that, but you expect the man to settle, though, right? Okay, well, how about both of you guys work it out so that you can start building? Because again, it's not meant to be perfect. That's why relationships will work. Is you have to put in work to make it last. You get out of that Disney fairy tale that you just get married and everything works out perfectly. It's not like that. But let's keep going.
So is that reasonable?
So, and I understand exactly what you're saying, and I guess there are men that are saying the wall is not saying that you can't get anyone. It's you're at a particular age and what you maybe could have had, you can't. And women do need to understand that, and I think that's logically speaking, yes. I've seen some men that don't believe that. I've seen some men, and again, I have been told that because you are hit the wall over the wall, that you're going to die alone. Like no man wants you. So, maybe the majority of men say that, but I have been literally told that no one wants you because you're 39 and you have a daughter.
She's 39. Wow. Didn't know that. Yeah, she's very attractive for her age. That's probably a horrible way to say that, but yeah, I wouldn't have took her for 39.
Like, what man would want that? So, it's interesting in this manosphere that I'm not a part of. I say I'm adjacent.
Yeah.
I'm right here. And listening to a lot of it really fractured my ego and confidence. Because it's really, really hard trying to learn and then be open and honest. And then it's like, oh, you're the typical Black woman that we say that men should not want. And I hear it on a daily basis. So it's hard. So I don't know, the wall I definitely get. This is not what I get in my DM sometimes. They be harsh. I was like, do you know me? But it is what it is, I guess.
So,
yet the downside of being in a public space, YouTube has a lot of similarities to a celebrity or being famous. And yeah, you open yourself up to that. And it's an interesting conversation that I know they're not talking about it, but I think we need to have this conversation because it applies to women who are in this space and who are like, don't get me wrong, we need more women like Courtney Michelle. I think ultimately because she has gone on to say, like, if you watch her channel, she does want to get married. But I think that she falls into that category, the same category as a lot of women YouTubers. The more popular you get, relationship wise, the more doors are going to close. Because ultimately, men prefer women who are not popular. It sucks to say that because again, she does want to get married, but she has if you watch her channel, you can tell she is very driven about her content. And I think that she ultimately will be successful. The problem, but at some point, I'm sure she's thought about this, but you got to start weighing the cost of being the forefront of that movement. Because again, the further you go with your content, the more you're put out there, the more doors are closing. So, and even then, if you're that passionate about the purpose of your channel, would you give that up for a marriage? I don't know. It's not my decision. It's not my point to say that. But women who are making relationship channels, especially if you're trying to rebuild our community, that's a tough decision. I'm glad I'm not envious that she's gonna have to make that at some point, because it just is what it is. I mean, yeah, the more popular you get, yeah. But let's keep going.
I guess my message to women would be, and I think this is what the well-meaning people are saying, be more realistic. So, for instance, Mrs. Average at Best, she felt deserving of a certain caliber of man because she had achieved certain things. She was running a 6-figure business. That's not actually what stood out to me, right? What stood out to me, she said that I'm finding I can't respect men who make less than me.
Bingo.
So the men that she's dating, the men that she's attracting are men who do not make 6 figures. They might still be hardworking, men of integrity, teachers, coaches, actual men who are the foundation of this country. But I'm finding I cannot respect, submit to, join in partnership with this man or this type of man. And the only man I'm deserving of is this man that I really know nothing about, but just because he makes more money than me.
Yeah.
So I tell women 2 things. You're not evaluated on the same curriculum as men.
Right.
So making 6 figures would make you a better man. Doesn't necessarily make you a better woman. Owning a business makes you a better man. Doesn't necessarily make you a better woman. It's like if I had hips, it doesn't make me a better man. You see what I'm saying? Because that's not what women value.
High level conversation. There is a concept here that eventually we're gonna have to break down, because right now the narrative is that, well, what makes a man high value? Despite personal opinion, I think what makes a man high value, I think women pick. And I know popularly the YouTube talking point tells you, well, the market decides that. Okay, but who's the market for men? It's women, ultimately. So women pick what makes a man high value. Just like, you take a high value man today. Okay, well, boom, now we're in the apocalypse. All that money ain't worth nothing. No, the high value men then become the guys who can really protect them and who can provide food. Because at that point, money's meaningless. So, that's a paradigm shift. Same thing with a high value woman. I don't know why women always like to define themselves. They think they can define themselves as high value, but no, high value women are based off what men value in women. The opposite gender defines what is high value. That's just how it works. But yeah, let's keep going.
So similarly, the whole idea of dying alone, I think is a counterproductive way of putting it, but I understand what they're trying to say, because unfortunately, our women are unwilling to compromise. And they're unwilling to look past the fact, going to Average the Best Girl, that this man doesn't make 6 figures, because most people do not. And I need to respect him for his leadership skills, for his integrity, for his ability to be a good father, for his ability to provide and protect, and everything else outside of the amount of zeros there in his bank account. But women aren't willing to admit that. So if you're not willing to admit that, then you will inevitably end up by yourself.
100%. Guys, we're going to stop it here because I want you to go check out this video. We need to talk, and it's the I Am Courtney Michelle interview. Final thoughts on this one. We covered some major talking points today. We covered the wall, and I'm not going to rehash that because I talked about that enough for right now. The thing that I want to summarize on is women, they don't want to lower their standards. That's fine if that's who you are. Just understand what comes with that. And unfortunately, I don't think most women, particularly black women, because we have the lowest marriage rates, and 100% that's what's going on in our community. Women have these high standards, and they're not going to settle. I don't think most women think that through. I know they don't, because from a financial standpoint, that doesn't make sense. I mean, you need two incomes just to make it to retirement. It's just the way it is. And then now, because we know, or specifically on this channel, we've looked this up multiple times. In the state I live in, right, the average man makes $37,000 a year. The average woman makes 25. So how are you going to make it to the end of life making $25,000 a year? That's not going to happen. I think what we're going to see is a major surgence of. So I'm 41. We're by the time. I think when Generation X gets heavy and it gets late into retirement, you're going to see a resurgence of people trying to get married, or people just living together, because you can't afford to live on your own anymore. Like even women who make over $50,000 a year, at that point, if you don't have enough saved up, it's a wrap. That job that you love, that career that you spent so many years building, that's not going to matter at that point. Because they ain't going to keep you on there after you hit retirement age. No, they're going to let you go and then pass your position on to somebody younger who they can pay less money to. I just think that marriage rates are right now, they're low. They're probably going to get lower because, like I said, as Generation X ages out, But I think you're going to see, I think that's probably going to be short-lived, because you're going to see a resurgence of people realizing that, oh my God, I need to find somebody, because we going to have to work together in order to make it. Sad state of affairs, but that's where we're at right now. But hey, if we end up rebuilding our community because of that, I'm all for it. It would take us another 2 generations just to catch up, because we waited so late in order to start getting together. But at the end of the day, the goal is still there. So we're going to leave it here. Go check out those channels. I am Courtney Michelle, and we need to talk. I'm going to say it goes to the next time. Peace. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. But do me another favor. Like and subscribe. But also check out these here. Either subscribe or watch videos. One or the other. I don't know which side. But hey, all right.